Chapters 51 to 52 of Tristram Shandy, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Gesine. The Life and Opinion of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman, Volume 1, by Lawrence Sterne. Chapters 51 to 52. Chapter 51. Whilst my uncle Toby was whistling Lillabullero to my father, Dr. Slop was stamping and cursing and damning at Obadiah at a most dreadful rate. It would have done your heart good and cured you, sir, for ever of the vile sin of swearing to have heard him. I am determined, therefore, to relate the whole affair to you. When Dr. Slop's maid delivered the green baize bag with her master's instruments in it to Obadiah, she very sensibly exhorted him to put his head and one arm through the strings, and ride with it slung across his body. So undoing the bowknot, to lengthen the strings for him, without any more ado she helped him on with it. However, as this, in some measure, unguarded the mouth of the bag, lest anything should bolt out in galloping back, at the speed Obadiah threatened, they consulted to take it off again, and in the great care and caution of their hearts they had taken the two strings and tied them close, pursing up the mouth of the bag first, with half a dozen hard knots, each of which Obadiah, to make all safe, had twitched and drawn together with all the strength of his body. This answered all that Obadiah and the maid intended, but was no remedy against some evils which neither he or she foresaw. The instruments, it seems, as tight as the bag was tied above, had so much room to play in it towards the bottom, the shape of the bag being conical, that Obadiah could not make a trot of it but with such a terrible jingle, what with a tear-tat, forceps, and squirt, as would have been enough had Hymen been taken a jaunt that way to have frightened him out of the country. But when Obadiah accelerated his motion, and from a plain trot essayed to prick his coach-horse into a full gallop, by heaven, sir, the jingle was incredible. As Obadiah had a wife and 3 children, the turpitude of fornication and the many other political ill consequences of this jingling never once entered his brain. He had, however, his objection, which had come home to himself and weighed with him, as it has ofttimes done with the greatest patriots. The poor fellow, sir, was not able to hear himself whistle. Chapter 52. As Obadiah loved wind music, preferably to all the instrumental music he carried with him, he very considerately set his imagination to work to contrive and to invent by what means he should put himself in a condition of enjoying it. In all distresses, except musical, where small chords are wanted, nothing is so apt to enter a man's head as his hat-band. The philosophy of this is so near the surface, I scorn to enter into it. As Obadiah's was a mixed case, mark, sirs, I say a mixed case, for it was obstetrical, scriptical, squirtical, papistical, and, as far as the coach-horse was concerned in it, cabalistical, and only partly musical, Obadiah made no scruple of availing himself of the first expedient which offered, so taking hold of the bag and instruments, and griping them hard together with one hand, and with the finger and thumb of the other, putting the end of the hat-band betwixt his teeth, and then slipping his hand down to the middle of it, he tied and cross-tied them all fast together from one end to the other, as you would cord a trunk, with such a multiplicity of roundabouts and intricate cross-turns, with a hard knot at every intersection or point where the strings met, that Dr. Slop must have had 3/5 of Job's patience at least to have unloosed them. I think in my conscience that had nature been in one of her nimble moods, and in humour for such a contest, and she and Dr. Slop both fairly started together, there is no man living which had seen the bag with all that Obadiah had done to it, and known likewise the great speed the goddess can make when she thinks proper, who would have had the least doubt remaining in his mind which of the two would have carried off the prize. My mother, madam, had been delivered sooner than the green bag infallibly, at least by 20 knots. Sport of small accidents, Tristram Shandy, that thou art, and ever will be. Had that trial been for thee, and it was 50 to 1 but it had, thy affairs had not been so depressed, at least by the depression of thy nose, as they have been, nor had the fortunes of thy house and the occasions of making them, which have so often presented themselves in the course of thy life, to thee been so often, so vexatiously, so tamely, so irrevocably abandoned, as thou hast been forced to leave them. But 'tis over, all but the account of 'em, which cannot be given to the curious till I am got out into the world. End of chapters 51 to 52, and end of the first volume of the Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman, by Lawrence Sterne.